100%. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Northwest University, welcome to this webinar, another one brought to you by the research entity called Optentia. Today they are actually collaborating to a strong degree with people and culture of the Northwest University. You'll hear all about it as we continue. We have a wonderful program lined up with lots of different speakers to address you on the topic of mentoring and being a mentee. We'll delve into it as we go through the afternoon. Now, you're watching us on YouTube, so therefore you're more than welcome to sign in and pose questions. We'll be watching the comment section, and if you do have a question for any of our speakers here this afternoon, you're more than welcome to pose it. I'm looking forward to the webinar. We have about 150 people here in the room with us, and many of them brought suitcases in anticipation of the extended debate that we're going to have on the two courses that we're going to talk about today. Not just on the content, but also on how it is delivered and the impact it has at the Northwest University and also at other institutions of higher learning. Welcome, and we look forward to your participation in our event. Now, first up, no stranger to the Northwest University and being seen as a brand ambassador and as a person of leadership at the Northwest University is Prof. Linda du Plessis, Senior Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Teaching and Learning at the Northwest University. Prof. Linda, thank you so much for being with us this afternoon and for sharing your insight into what we're about to talk about.
Thank you, Pierre. Good afternoon, Prof. Ian and the Deanery of the Faculty of Humanities and colleagues.
Sorry, Prof. Linda, just that microphone switch to the right, the one on the right. There we go.
Oh,
thank you.
sorry.
There we go.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Pierre. Good afternoon to the Deanery of the Faculty of Humanities and Prof. Ian from Optentia. I'm really excited to be here, and I thought this is so important that I wish the whole senior management team could be here, because I think the Northwest University has taken several steps to make a message very clear, and that is that academic support staff are equally important for the Northwest University. And we want to invest in your career development. And the success of the Northwest University is dependent on the success of the staff members. So today we reach another milestone as we launch these two incredibly important initiatives aimed at strengthening mentoring capacity, but also support professional staff and our university staff through their professional development. Now, Steven Spielberg said, the delicate balance of mentoring someone is not creating in them your own image, but giving them the opportunity to create themselves. So it's such a unique opportunity. And the Optentia Research Unit has ultimately, I can still remember the days when we started, it is to see how people can flourish. And I think this is just yet another initiative. Last week, we were at an event of the Faculty of Humanities. The psychologist was talking, Dr. Moyo, and he said, we normally think of productivity of people, and sometimes you will only go for support when you are on a scale of 20 and minus 20, when you are on minus 20. And then when you're back to zero, people say you're okay. But we are saying maybe you are already functioning at zero, but we can take you to 20. So I think we look at making people that are already enjoying what they do, making them more productive. And the mentorship is really at the heart of these initiatives. And I just want to reflect a bit on what does it mean to be a mentor, a mentee, and maybe share some personal experience. So first of all, let us acknowledge that mentorship is not just a professional development tool. It's really powerful and it can be life-changing. We all know that a university is a dynamic environment. There's been a lot of changes. I mean, this year I just have to say two words, NASIS and the Freebie 2 project. then everybody will know how we have to deal with change and how we have to be creative. So we are in a community and there are relationship, connections, and there's this wealth of experience amongst us. So if you become a mentor, you contribute not only to your colleague's success, but you also develop as an individual. And the short course in mentoring is really to help you with those skills to be an effective mentor in a way that is meaningful and impactful. So whether you are mentoring someone in a department, a student, a course, I think it was Phil Collins who said, in learning you will teach, and in teaching you will learn. But mentoring is not about imparting knowledge. There's this wonderful skill. Always tell my children why you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. It's the skill of listening. So I can also testify that early in my career, I don't think I would have been where I am today if it wasn't for the mentors in my life. And the one important thing is they were not the people that told me what to do, but they asked the right question. Because ultimately, each of us is responsible for the decisions we take. But if you can help to take a decision with better insight, it's really a remarkable benefit. We all doubt at times our skills and our abilities and our readiness to do things. And then a mentor can play such a valuable role in giving perspective by asking the right questions. So I can really contest that. I think that I'm a product of mentorship. And I would also encourage those of you who do not have one to actively look for people that you want to be mentored by. Because it's so much easier if we can learn from others. And if there are people that together with you value your professional development, whether you want to be better in your job, whether you aspire to be in a leadership role, whether you want to upskill, reskill, mentorship helps you to create a better self-awareness, and it provides that support. So, Prof. Ian, I think we all have very busy lives, little personal time, but the way you have crafted the course, learner-centered, self-paced, really gives us little excuse not to enroll for the course. So, colleagues, whether you enroll, whether you become part of the community, this is the culture that we want at the Northwest University, a culture where there's an ethic of care, where people are valued, where they feel supported, and where people can thrive. And together we nurture an environment where both personal and institutional growth can take place. And we can do that through this culture of mentorship. So we are really excited to see each one of you here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Linda. Thank you so much. And I think the wonderful thing of having you here is, of course, the support that you provide, the impetus from your office and your leadership. Thank you so much. I think what's wonderful, ladies and gentlemen, is that we focus on mentorship and these 2 courses specifically within the support staff environment. And as Prof. Linda has alluded to, you've gone through so much already and most probably will continue to go through. As you know, change is a constant. So most probably what you've seen this year is only a prelude of what you'll experience in 2026. Therefore, we constantly rethink our professional roles and what it entails, what it means to work and to support, and how we define it and how we redefine it moving into the future. So it's also wonderful to have Andiswa Mse here today, this afternoon. It's wonderful to have you here, the Director of Academic Solutions at the Northwest University. Andiswa, thank you so much for joining us and for addressing us on from support to growth, rethinking these professional roles.
Thank you, Grepen. Thank you, Grepen.
Other one.
Thank you. Thank you, Grepen. And welcome to the Northwest family and the family online. Once again, thank you to our speaker, Prof. Linda, my mentor. I'm so privileged because I'm talking about the topic which I think I love, rethinking, changing the narrative from support to growth. This is a journey. And I think sometimes we always forget the role of support. It's no longer support, it's a strategic partner. Support staff, support people are enablers. When I'm speaking about that, we don't just support excellence, but we enable it. So we need to be proud, and I'm so excited about this course, and I'm so excited about this launch, because for me, when we speak of support, we're speaking of the heartbeat of the institution. We are the engine behind the success story, from the admissions to IT to library. Where you see a human being, we need to be able to make them that they are enabled. Systems alone cannot change the narrative. Also, I want to say it is important that this program, it rewrites and it changes the narrative on how we see support. And we need to be able to acknowledge and take it to the core. When we start rethinking of our professional roles, we need to be able to look. The old view is for us to be reactive, but the new view, mentorship helps us to be proactive. Also, when you look at our administrative roles, they need to be able to change the narrative of being strategic. So we're moving from following the process to be able to shape the change. So we are the shape changers. When we speak of mentorship, we speak of shaping and change. Also, working in silos. I think once we know, when we speak of digital transformation, when we speak of change, when we speak of better mental health, we need to be able to be collaborative. There is no change that we can do if as the institution, if as the university, even as the community, we can never move to be a collaborative across systems. We no longer talk maintenance, we're talking innovation. For me, that's the nature of what you call it when you're speaking with the mentor and the mentee. Why mentorship matters, maybe when you speak of rethinking the narrative, especially in higher education. Firstly, there are certain research. This is backed by research. Mentorship Loop reported the retention rises by 72% for mentees. Also, if you look at the Mentor Link in 2025, they found that mentors are promoted 6 times more often. But before that, what we need to talk about, what does this mean to Northwest University support staff? Mentorship builds confidence, it builds competence, it builds connection. It creates career mobility. It creates leadership pathways. It creates a culture of care and learning, which goes with our values here at Northwest University. Also, it strengthens institutional memory while aligning personal growth with NW's strategic transformation goal. Maybe I'm just going to talk a little bit from support to strategic partner. The higher education environment is shifting, if you can notice, driven by digital transformation. And we spoke of the mentee-centric, learner-centric. Also, we need to emphasize human-centric, because there is nothing that we can do. If we speak of student experience, which we're part of it, we have to be changing to be student-centric, learner-centric, and human-centric. Our contribution defines how NW lives in values of human-centric transformation, innovation, and impact. Every system we manage, every student we assist, every report we compile is part of university's success story. Mentorship ensures that we're not just maintaining systems, it's also about shaping the university of the future. Lessons learned from other organizations. Across industries, universities globally, successful mentorship programs share common lessons. Also, cultural fit. Mentorship is a journey, and it has an impact in how we do things, in how we move as the institution. Also, measurement, because we can be able to track promotions, retention, satisfaction, and leadership growth that proves impact. Also, intentional design. What I like about Northwest University is that we're intentional in the way we're doing. Hence, I see this rethinking of our professional roles. Also, mentorship is not a luxury. It is a strategic tool for growth, for diversity, and for the resilience. Closing, inspiring a way forward, which I want to share. As we launch this mentorship journey, let's remember, growth is not a destination, it's a culture. Support is not a lesser role, it's a leadership pathway. Leadership begins where service meets the purpose. Thank you, Khlepe. Thank you to the community.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You've touched on so many different things. You know, I keep thinking back when you talk to a previous generation or to people who have come before you. They often reflect, you know, how things were when they started, and what they've gone through the development of information technology, and now with AI, you know, they've gone through so much. But for us even, we've not just gone through role redefinitions in terms of this is your position and this is how you provide support and how that has changed now with the introduction of IT systems and so on, but also on an organizational level. It's
Person behind the tools. Hence, we need to emphasize being human-centric, and hence it's important for us to be able to continue with mentor-mentee relationship, because that's what strengthens us as individuals. We benefit as individuals, our families, they benefit, and the university benefit, and the whole community benefits from the program.
And when the broader community, when they think about university, we think academic staff. First and foremost, I hear a murmuring in the room, you know. And then you realize, but the academic staff would not be the only staff at the university. So I think there's a right thing at the right moment happening now if we talk about mentorship for support staff.
Hence, I mentioned the strategic partnership, who are enablers, who are strategic partners. Academic is a key partner, and support is a key partner. So hence, we have to reimagine how we work and how we view ourselves as support, because I think also it starts with us, where we think that we are the back end. No, we are the enablers. We are the things happen. There will be no teaching and learning if support was not there.
I love that idea of, you know, the support staff being enablers, triggers, catalysts. It's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you for being here. Prof?
Can I just say something in conclusion? Because what you have said reminded me, and colleagues, there's an excellent report to read, the Future of Jobs report that was produced by the World Economic Forum. Now, that report says 65% of the learners who are now in grade 1 will end up in a job that does not exist today. So that is how the world is changing. And when does an institution cease to exist? When the pace of change outside is faster than the pace of change inside. Therefore, it's so important that we embrace change. And one of the big things how we can do this is through a mentor, through not thinking I have to go through this alone. So indeed a very good time to launch this program, Prof. Ian.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, ladies. We are going to be now, we're not going to replace you. We're just going to pivot someone else in for the moment. Thank you for talking to us. We do have other speakers here as well this afternoon, because I'm interested. All right, we understand things are changing. Support is needed, and we have it here in these two short courses. But how would that play out? So I'm continuously, as we go through the afternoon, looking towards the practicalities of it and how people will slot into these different short courses. Right. What also happens is that from time to time we run with a clicker. I'm sorry, let me interrupt myself. Thank you, Ellen. So from time to time we see that our everyday interactions really make up the big thing. You know, it's as if all our small speech acts, all our small interactions make up the big things in life. And it's wonderful to hear Prof. Lebo Gafane Malemane, the Associate Professor, Community Engagement Champion, Chair of the International Society of Hypertension Mentoring and Training Committee from the Faculty of Health Sciences. She works specifically in the research entity called Hypertension in Africa, the research team there. Prof. Lebo is a busy lady. She's in demand everywhere, and she's a wonderful table tennis player as well, I hear. Prof. Lebo, it's wonderful to have you here and to hear you speak about small conversations, big impact, everyday moments that shape mentorship.
Thank you very much, Gepier, for that nice introduction. And good afternoon, colleagues and colleagues online. It's such an honor for me today to be part of this, what I think is a very important milestone that the university, Northwest University, is achieving. I'm really excited about this, and I'm proud to be part of this launch today. And I think the main reason for this is that mentorship is something that is personal for me, because I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't because of mentors. The people that helped me every step of the way, I didn't call them mentors. Some were just senior students at high school. Some were just teachers that help you with very small things that you might think everyone should be able to do this. Everyone should be able to apply at university. Everyone should be able to think ahead what they need to do with their lives in the next 3 or 5 years. But that's not always the case. Not everyone gets to do that or think they should do that, unless someone just asks them, what is your plan when you finish this? Or what are you going to do next year? So that's why I'm actually excited that I will be speaking not of the big milestones or the big goals that we usually set up for ourselves when we get into a mentorship program, but those things that happen in between the to-do list that you need to achieve at the end of this day, at the end of this week, at the end of this month, or at the end of the quarter. So I would just like to maybe start a little bit with mentoring. When you enter into a mentorship program or when you apply to do a mentorship course, there's always expectations. Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to get a mentor? Or as a mentor, when someone approaches you to ask to be your mentee, what do they want from you? What do they need from you? How can I help them? Usually the words that we hear with that is like motivation to go further with my studies or to improve for self-development, so maybe I can get a promotion, or just to help me with the direction of my career. Where do I want to see myself? Or because I feel like I need support that I'm not getting at the moment. And I think if I get into contact or get connected with someone that just focuses on me and my growth, I will be able to achieve that. I will achieve success in what I'm doing. And that is why sometimes the mentor can be intimidating, because now you must wear this many hats. You must be the sponsor, you must be the advisor, the clarifier, the developer, because some people are in so much need that actually they need to get extra training in certain skill set for them to be able to succeed, thrive, or do their job the way they're supposed to do. But when we actually break down all these expectations around mentorship and the different roles played by mentors, and we bring them into small engagements that we do every day, it actually becomes easier. And it becomes about the person, not the job. Not about the KPIs, because once the person is supported, once the person is empowered, everything else will follow naturally from that, because the person has been empowered, the main results and everything else that they have to do, then it's easier for them to navigate. So what does everyday mentorship look like? It doesn't have to be 6 meetings in a year or in a month, or it can be, and also you don't need all those 6 coffee breaks to be able to. So it shows something as simple as genuine concern for someone's well-being. We ask ourselves, how are you doing? I'm fine, thanks, and you? I'm also fine, thanks. Bye, enjoy your day. And then I know that how you feel. It doesn't work like that. You really have to show genuine concern and interest in someone's well-being. That's one of those small things that we can do with every day without even being in a structured program or setting up a structured meeting for that. Encouragement through tough phases. When we feel like we are failing or we are not meeting the targets that we need to meet, you need that person to come and encourage you. And honest as well as kind feedback, not honest but honest and kind feedback. That is crucial, because that's how we build each other, that's how we give each other confidence. And I just want to highlight something Prof. Linda mentioned about active listening. I had a meeting with my mentor a while back. It was supposed to be a serious meeting about a milestone that I was supposed to achieve and I did not achieve. And actually about 35 to 40 minutes of that meeting we spent talking about myself, not the work. because he was asking me, how are you doing? The last time I saw you, you looked tired. And I said, yes, I was tired. And we started talking about work-life balance, setting priorities for my personal well-being. And when I finished there, I felt empowered when I walked out of that room that actually that milestone, I shouldn't be worrying a lot about it because I can structure it this way and still be able to achieve. But how did we get to that point of spending 30 to 40 minutes talking about me? Because when he asked me, how are you? And I talked to him, he really listened to what I was saying and prompted me, followed up on the questions. So the focus again is on the person, not the achievements or the big milestones. So these small everyday interactions and focusing on the person, they're actually important building blocks for trust, growth, and belonging. And when you have that foundation of trust, growth, and belonging, it changes or influences how you learn. Do you learn positively? And how do you show up at work? Are you happy coming to work? Are you happy doing what you are doing? Or are you frustrated or you wish you should be somewhere else? It's because of those building blocks that's how the things that impact how we actually learn. And all of us here, we are leaders. Once trust, growth, belonging is settled, then we learn, we show up properly, we empower others because ourselves we are empowered. And at the end of the day, we lead because it doesn't matter which department you are or what is your role. At the end of the day, here, we are all leaders. And the things that I think we should really be intentional about, whether you're a mentee or mentor, and whether you register for the mentee or the mentor course, I've registered for the mentor course and I thoroughly enjoyed it, is that we need to be intentional about building trust and emotional connection. Empathy, that's a superpower in mentoring, in working with people, in leading people, understanding why the person in this position, why do they feel this way? What can I do to support them? How can they thrive? And sharing resources and opportunities, it's very easy because I wonder now when Optentia sent out an email for people to forward to their colleagues, how many people actually took a minute to forward to their colleagues and say, here's a mentorship launch, do you want to attend? Because it's small things like that. Some people are here because someone forwarded them an invite, a workshop, an AI workshop. Do we do that? And just informal guidance and inclusion. I've been in situations where I was in meetings with directors, senior people, or people outside the university, and I didn't like it. I was so nervous because I thought I didn't belong there. I'm still early career researcher, but my line manager put me there. And after that, I'm like, I can actually do this. So it's those, it doesn't have to be formal, inviting someone in a higher level meeting, showing them that you can actually move up. There's no ceiling that's making you to be there and forever. There's a pathway for you. You can be at this level. So that's those everyday things like just asking. And also when they ask you to do something, even though it's the first time and you're not sure, just give it a try. Ask, how can I make it work? How do I prepare? Because that's what mentorship, even if it's informal, will look like. So for me, I think all of us here, we can agree, we know it all starts here. Mentorship is not reserved for senior academics or managers. All of us, we can mentor others in our departments, in other departments. And if you're not sure how to do it, I'm so glad and really proud that Optentia is working with people and culture to roll this out, because you can learn to be a mentor, you can learn to be a mentee, and once you go through those courses, your perspective will completely change. You are empowered. Even if you are a mentoring and you have a mentee, it's not only the mentee that gets empowered, you as a mentor, you get empowered from that experience. We must be willing to share. We are busy, all of us, we are busy, but we need to be willing to share time and experience. We learn so much from people's experiences. And recognizing potential at all levels. Everyone, wherever position they are, there is a lot of potential. And the reason it's so important to be able to recognize potential is that so many people, so much potential get wasted or lost because it's not identified, and not everyone believes in themselves. Some people don't think they have potential to go beyond where they are now. So it's the duty of leaders and mentors to identify that potential and nurture it so people can be able to grow and thrive in the environment that we are in. So I thank you very much for your attention and happy mentoring. I hope we'll be able to interact somewhere along the pathway of mentorship and growth for everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Prof. Lebo. We really appreciate it. Thank you for sharing your insights. So you've done the mentorship course. And now here's a question from, I know I'm jumping the gun and we have questions later on, but I'm taking the opportunity now. I'm curious as to how, can you teach someone the wisdom that you've spoken? I mean, if someone asks you, hi, how are you? They can, if they don't have wisdom, they just push on, fine, thank you, and you, and then they continue. But it requires some skill in observing, this is the moment where I need to explore this a little bit. Can it be taught? Can it be honed? Is it something you are born with? How do we deal with that degree of wisdom?
It can be taught, certainly. Some people obviously are natural with certain things, but it can be taught. And actually in the mentoring course, they teach you. So you have a practical where you go and Prof. Ian and someone else, they are there, and you do... you pretend like now if this was your mentee.
So it's simulated,
yes, it's simulated. And then you learn how you engage with the person. And you know why I realized that it actually works? When my mentor was asking me, how am I? And when we were sitting, I realized that he probably also did a formal course, because the way he said and the way he looked in my eye and listened to me, I saw that his intention is not, it's something that you know you want to do, and when you work with people, you want to do it this way, and that's what I'm saying. When you get training, you improve with experience. And also what I realized with that course, so before I joined the course, I had been a mentor before, but now seeing the theory, it was eye-opening. And I realized that sometimes maybe I was not such a good mentor. And also I was not a good mentee, but now I see the gaps, like, okay, I can improve on this. And after that, I practice it. And then I see, oh, it's actually making my role as a mentor better. And I actually have testimonials from people that I've mentored at the International Society of Hypertension and elsewhere. And I know that even though naturally I'm a people's person, some of the things I had to learn them. Yes, for the benefit of those that I'm mentoring.
But when I introduced you, I went on about your qualifications and the roles that you fulfill, etc. So I thought at first you would be the one purely offering the mentorship and not being on the receiving end. So I was surprised to hear you talk about receiving that mentorship. So it immediately got me thinking that I should check my own stereotypes. It's not just a wise old sage. It has nothing to do with experience, or perhaps not nothing, but it's not all about experience and being experienced.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I have so many mentors for different aspects of life and career, because you know you have different needs wherever you are, and sometimes you can have a mentor that is more focused on a certain aspect, for example, that is passionate about work-life balance, and they are always supporting you there. But sometimes you need to get out of your comfort zone. You need to try something new. Then you need to get someone that can support you in that. And you find that your current mentor doesn't really do that. Then you seek mentorship. So I've seen people who are presidents of societies, for example, or researchers, that they still have that professor that is maybe old or just above them in terms of experience, that they still go to every now and then to advise them, to guide them, to make them think, is this direction the right one or not? And now in terms of progression, am I stagnating? What new thing do I need to get to refresh my skills? And then you seek mentorship for that. Because actually, when I look back, I wonder how people used to do without mentorship, because it's such a necessity nowadays. Because I mean, a higher education, it's so dynamic. How can you go on, grow, thrive without mentorship? Are you just going by yourself? Yeah. Are you really responsive to the needs that are in front of you, or you are just going on, which it shouldn't be like that? Like now, I loved what she said about support staff, that it's it's partnership. If academia, there's now with AI, there's a lot of training for academic staff member how to use AI. AI, this for support staff. Are they affected by AI? How many workshops or training opportunities are they getting also for AI? Because all the systems, they must be responsive. And for me, mentorship, it's been it's been the best. I owe a lot of the success stories of my life to mentorship, and my mentorship of others also resulted in more success stories. So I'm also actually looking forward to seeing the success stories that will come from this day in terms of the colleagues that are here and those that are online. So yeah, mentorship is not a luxury, it's a necessity. It's a need. You need that support, you need empowerment, and that communication, positivity, motivation. So yeah, it's something that you need. And once you do it, and especially if you empower yourself by preparing for it, like doing a course, then you benefit the most. It's like the soil being ready to receive the seed. Then there's growth. Thank you.
Prof. Lebu, thank you so much. Wonderfully put, wonderfully put. Thank you so much. A mentor for your professional life, your personal life, and even for table tennis. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Prof. Lebu. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if there is a person in this world whose name, the name Helen means light, to give light. If there's a light shining on resilience and perseverance, it is this lady sitting right next to me. Helen Lekalakala is the Director of Talent Management and Organizational Development at the Northwest University. It's wonderful to have you here, Helen, especially since we're talking about support staff, and now we're in a world where we take a bit of a step back and see from an organizational point of view what is the value of these courses and how it will play out at the Northwest University. Ladies and gentlemen, to talk to us about growing our people, mentoring as a cornerstone of a thriving workplace, I present to you Helen Lekalakala.
Thank you, Ethiopia. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, both present here and also online. It is a great honor and a pleasure for us as People and Culture. I'm here representing People and Culture to finally have this day. It's been a journey for us to get where we were. At some point, I was wondering what Prof. Ian and his team were busy with, because I thought it's just about changing the word academic to support, and then the course can just be rolled out. And then I saw there were interviews, we were on camera, and then they had to do this and that, and I'm like, what was wrong with these people? But now, with the final product, I realized the importance of going through that process. Academic and support, it's totally different worlds. And I think we realized that from the research that Prof. Ian and his team had to go through before we get to where we are. So for me, ladies and gentlemen, mentorship, it's like if you love gardening, I love roses. So this time of the year, when the roses are gonna blossom, before they blossom, there will be this tiny little flower. You're not sure as to what's going to be the color of that rose. And as you water the rose and then you prune them, you're supposed to prune them, them, so that by this time they can be big and beautiful. So as you go through that process, by the time you see that big rose, and it's got different scents, it's like the fruits of your labor. You get to see this rose that blossom, and it's through mentorship that you had to take care of that rose, you nurtured that rose for you to be able to see the final product with different colors, and the scent, it's different. So I think as you're going through the journey of being mentored and being a mentor, you realize that at the end of the day, it's that final product that you are looking forward to. And it's beautiful. It's got different colors, it's got different smells. And that's the output of being mentored and being a mentor. So for us as people and culture, it's about unlocking the potential that our people have. Everyone has got a potential, colleagues. Never ever doubt yourself, because you're sitting at your little corner and you're wondering whether myself being Helen, I'll ever get there. I studied accounting. Look where I am. I'm just thinking about Helen, the accountant. Now in 2025, I would be miserable. But but now I'm enjoying myself, because I think somebody believed in me and unlocked the potential that I had. I didn't know my own strength, but that day in 2012, when I knocked into Miss Ria Nell's office and asked him about this funny position on workforce planning and HR and stuff, I wondered what it was all about. So, colleagues, if you're going to go through a mentorship, you must be ready. You must be ready. It's not about what they're going to tell you. You can't just be told and do. You have to also understand yourself. It's going to be a journey for you. And for us as people and culture, as we're looking at this official launch for our a mentor and mentee program for the support staff, we can only be proud, because we know that when we are looking at our cohort of support staff, it has been, we've done the culture survey recently in 2024, and one of the outcomes from this culture survey, our support staff felt like they are being overlooked. We're not giving them opportunities. And as we are going through our annual project plans from our learning and development department, we always think about what kind of training are we going to offer for our staff, especially the support. Because we are a higher education of institution of learning, so everybody has got their qualifications. Everybody has got their junior degrees, diplomas, masters, PhD. So what kind of training do you offer these people that are so learned? How do you say to Prof Levu, I want to take you for training? It's like I've got a PhD there. What's wrong with you? So it's very challenging for us as the learning and development department to come up with the programs that are really meaningful and impactful for our people. And we continuously create that culture of learning, and then make sure that our people, the university, Northwest University people, are going to take this organization to greater heights. As you know, the competition is very tight. You know that number, Prof. Linda, that we don't want to keep on talking about where we are as Northwest University. We wonder, how are we going to get from that number and move upwards, the rankings. So we need you, colleagues, to take us to that level. So, previously we had human resources. So it was about human resources. And hence now we're talking about people and culture. It's because for an organization to be successful, we have to be deeply rooted in our people. We're looking at our people and the culture of our organization. And then what we also realized is, for our people to grow, we need them to be capacitated. We need them to be mentored on a day-to-day basis, because at the end of the day, we want people who can raise their hands and say, I am willing to take Helen from where they are to the next level. And how are you going to do that? That job profile, you can have the job profile, but how you're going to execute the tasks in that job profile needs someone who can guide you, someone who can hold your hand and make sure that ultimately you are able to be proficient in that role through all the day-to-day discussions in terms of saying, hey, you are getting off the line now. I need you to focus. And it's through those people that believe in you that will hold your hand and make sure that ultimately you become successful. And what we see is with mentoring, we are able to bridge between the experience. You know, we've got people that are experienced in an organization, and then we also need to aspire that we have to be great as an institution, and then we need to share our wisdom with others. They talk about in leadership, they talk about leadership is about storytelling. In most cases, we just see people from where they are. We don't know the journey that they have traveled for them to be where they are. So leadership is about storytelling. And I think we're also looking at mentorship from an organizational perspective. But coming to think about it, for us to be where we are, it's because of the teachings that we received from our elders. So mentorship just doesn't start at an organizational level. It starts from when you are a child for you to be where you are, starting from somebody teaches you how to talk. Somebody teaches you how to walk. Somebody do a lot of things. And that has been mentoring. So in every day of our lives, we need to realize that everybody is actually a mentor in their own right. By them being a parent, being a sister, being a spouse, you know that some people need to be taught one or two, even though they are elders, you know. So it's those kind of teachings on a day-to-day that makes us who we are. And you're never too old to learn. And I think what we also need to think about from an organizational perspective, there's what we call a multi-generational perspective. So nowadays, Andiso was talking about AI and everything. In most cases, especially here at a higher education institution, we still have our older generation in terms of our professors that hasn't been there when this AI life started. So now what we're talking about from a multi-generational perspective, we talk about cross-mentoring. It's not only the people that have been in the system for longer that can teach the upcoming generation. We can also learn from the young ones. You know, you struggle to just connect, just to upload the video. You've got the videos, but pressing play, it's like a mission. So you also need the young ones to teach you one or two. So the multi-generational aspect, it's also very important. So as we are balancing the mentors and mentees, we're not supposed to be focusing on age per se. There are other things that the elder generation can actually learn from the younger generation. That is very important. And we know the ones that are parents, that little one can actually teach you a lot on your cell phone that you have bought and is paying a lot of money every month, but you don't know how to operate that gadget. But you don't know how they learned, but it's just in their genes. I don't know how they get to learn all these things. So it's part of mentoring. That's why we're talking about cross-mentoring. So as we are looking at this process for mentor and mentee, let's not only focus about on age. Let's look at what can this person bring to the table. We need to know in each and every team, we must focus on our strengths and weaknesses. So the strengths doesn't mean that because I'm a professor, I'm Helen, I'm the director, I know everything. You don't always know everything. We need to learn from others. So what we are also focusing on is when we mentor, we know that if we embed a culture of mentoring, there will be engagement. Our people will be resilient, and there they will be excellent. You know, one of our values is excellence in all endeavors, but we need to make sure that we nurture this excellence. And then we must also learn to reflect. I mentioned that as you are going to be a mentee, don't just listen to your mentor. You must also do that self-reflection and make sure that you are going to learn and stretch beyond your comfort zone. Comfort zone means a lot of things. I can share that myself as Helen, I was very comfortable being a wife, and I didn't have to drive anywhere. My husband was driving me everywhere. And then I got to people and culture. They tell me, you are going to be traveling across the 3 campuses, young lady. And then I'm like, okay, how am I going to do that? Because I'm used to having a personal chauffeur. It's those small little things that you need to adjust to say, I am willing to do this. I can travel from here to wherever without having someone who's going to assist me. So you need to learn to be out of your comfort zone so that you can grow. You cannot grow from being comfortable. So you need to make sure that you develop on both a personal level and also a professional level, because why we are saying that, Prof was alluding to the fact that her mentor will ask her, how are you? So if you just grow to be a person, a professional person, and forget about the personal well-being, it just takes a lot to say to someone, how are you today? How was the weekend? It's Monday today. How was the weekend? You don't know what someone went through during the weekend, and you're just asking about the outputs. So developing and growing on both the personal level and professional level will create a work-life balance, because ultimately you will be able to relate with the people that you are working with. And then you need to know that mentoring will transform from both participants. So if your mentor is saying this and you're going the other way, you're not going to transform yourself, and you need to build that confidence. And then you need to make sure that at the end of the day, you have a clearer purpose about your life. So from us as people and culture, we really appreciate this partnership. It's been a journey for almost 2 years with Optentia. We started with our academic cohort, and then hence we then thought that it is very important that we need to also look at our support staff, because Prof, that you need the support component. We know that the academic is our core, but support is very important. If you don't have Andiswa from IT supporting all the initiatives, making sure that your classes are connected and everything, you won't go anywhere. So it is important that both the support and the academic work together. And then for you colleagues being here, we are proud to be working with the ETDP SETA. I'm not going to try and give you the full name. Last time I butchered it. So, but ETDP SETA, you can Google. So what we do as a university is every year we have to submit what we call the WSP. WSP stands for Workplace Skills Plan, and ATR, which stands for Annual Training Report. So what we need to do is we need to compile and consolidate all the trainings that happened within our university, and then we send this information to ETDP SETA, and also Workplace Skills Plan. We need to make sure that we talk about what are the plans for this organization, so that we are able to train our people to make sure that the university thrive through the learning and development activities and initiatives that we have. So you know that you pay a 1% on your salary every year. That 1% that you pay, it goes to SARS. The university will pay the money to SARS, and then SARS will give 20% of that money to the SETAs. And then with us as higher education, we belong to the education training SETA. And then what they do from that 20%, they will give us a certain percentage that we can offer our trainings. But we can only do that after we have submitted the WSP and then the ATR. So what is important is that with every training that you do, you must always think about our learning and development department that send that report. Every cent counts, because what they do, they give us what we call discretionary grants. So the discretionary grants is a result of the trainings that we do. So they see that the university is taking initiative to train, and then they will give us a certain amount. So ever since I started working in this department, I'm proud to share that around 2022, we're getting around 2.2 million. To date, we are now, we have increased our discretionary grant budget to 4.7 million. So this is through the hard work of the learning and development team, and then our partners' financial planning in making sure that every training that's been recorded in our books, we are able to submit to the ETDP SETA, and then their discretion has been very generous, and we are hoping that we will get more and more, because when we get more, we are able to train a lot of our support staff. We've got over 2,000 support staff. So you can just get this initiative for us to train about 40 or 20 people. We spend almost 500,000. So we need more money so that at the end of the day, we are able to train more of you, that you can continue to be mentored and be mentees. And then ultimately we will have employees that are very engaged and are committed. And then what we are also doing is that we want to commend Prof. Ian and the team for this initiative, because we really acknowledge the work that they have done. It's something that we could have got someone from external that is going to do this, but they know the university. They understand how NW operates, and we're going to be working with mentors that are within the institution that understand how we operate as an organization. And then at the end of the day, our university's performance will just increase. So we want to call to you, colleagues, that you must please engage fully, listen deeply, and share generously. Grow intentionally. That is very important. You must grow intentionally. And remember, mentoring is not just about guidance. It is about building a legacy of learning and growth that extend well beyond this room. So in closing, we are saying, together let us make mentoring a cornerstone of how we grow our people and shape thriving, compassionate, and high-performing Northwest University. And we have a slogan in our Women in Leadership program that says, "We rise by lifting others." Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ellen. We really appreciate it. Indeed, we rise by lifting others, and we'll get farther when we collaborate, as you have done with Optentia. Thank you so much, ladies. I'm going to excuse you now to rotate two people in to tell us a little bit about the detail when it comes to these courses that we're focusing on. And these two gentlemen will be Professor Ian Rothman. You've now heard his name mentioned, and Dr. Neil Barnard will also join us on this side. I'm really curious as to what the course actually entails, how it plays out, and what you can experience once you enroll for one of these short courses. So let me start with Prof. Ian. Professor Rothman, thank you so much for being with us today, and thank you for what you've done. I think you can already see there's quite a positive response to what you have to offer.
Okay, Gepe, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, and thanks for being here and listening to the story of mentors and mentees training here at the Northwest University. I want to acknowledge my colleagues in Optentia, and specifically Dr. Neil Barnard, who is in industrial psychology, the school there, and I can promise you that most of the work that we are doing is volunteering kind of work. So we are doing this because we want to make a difference, not because we are paid. Every single cent that we got up to now, we reinvest in mentor and mentee training at the university. It costs lots of money. I can tell you it's hundreds and thousands of rands that we have invested in this because we have to produce our own videos, we have to buy material, we have to do the training, we have functions, we have we sort of try to also give acknowledgement to the best performance in the courses and so on. So thank you, everyone, and then specifically also from People and Culture, Helen was here, I can see, and Runewa and Tsepi. And then obviously she's not here, our other colleague, Kelly Ramagaga. She is sort of coordinating the whole program, and you will work with her a lot. So thank you to all of these people. We have the 2 courses. Last year, we started with the initiative to mentors and mentees at the Northwest University, just over the past year. And I can tell you, every one of those people are people who make a difference. And now we have developed the program. It's a registered program, which means that you will get a certificate. It's a 40-hour program. We could not spend more time than 40 hours. But it's time well spent, and then you will receive a certificate as well. So I will talk about the mentorship course for professional and support people, and Neil will address the mentee program. Why the 2 programs? When we started this whole idea, we said it doesn't help that you just train the mentor. The mentor is one person in the relationship. The mentee is the other person. And that mentee should be ready also has a voice, the same as the mentor. So we need to train parties, and what we want to do is we also want to allow you to choose your own mentor, to really demonstrate that a selection by yourself, your autonomy to choose your own mentor, and we have all kinds of wonderful systems that support us there. So I want to say something about our mentorship program, the program for the mentors, and then the approach that we take, the capability approach. We focus on flourishing at work. Then we say mentorship can be for better or for worse. I want to say something about that. Optimal functioning, and then the course. Hopefully within 10 minutes. I'll take you through this. So there's this concept of languishing. Sometimes we are not depressed, we are not anxious, or we do not have some kind of mental health problem. It is just that we feel somewhat empty, that we are not motivated. And that we can call languishing. If you are languishing, you are not very happy as a person, and you will see the negative effects of that. Languish for 7 years, and it will set over to depression, right? So we have to attend to languishing in time before it becomes worse. So we take the capability approach, and capability says that what we do at work, it's not just about what we have, it's what we can be and what we can do, those 2 things. And those things are based on your values. So in capabilities, we will work with you on your value system at work, and then your enablement as well as your achievements. Sometimes you have the values, but you feel you are not enabled with the necessary resources, or you don't know how to use the resources. I mean, give people AI, but they don't know how to use it for the best purposes. That's a recipe for danger. So capability is about valuing something, but then also being enabled to do things and then to achieve them. Sometimes we have the values, we are enabled, but we just don't get it right. And there's no better person than a mentor to help us with that. If you see that little picture there, that is the problem of psychology. It was for many years. And that is that people fall down a cliff and there's an ambulance waiting to pick them up. rather than preventing them falling off the cliff, right? So what we want to do with the mentoring course is to focus on being proactive. Before people fell down the cliff, we want to see what is causing them to actually go off that cliff. And away with this idea that there's a pill, there's medicine when you become depressed or when you feel negative about yourself or what. We try to solve it through all kinds of symptoms that we want to treat. That is not what we believe. We want to promote flourishing of people, and that's inherent in this course. Now, I want to tell you one thing that I've learned as a very young student, and I've seen it applied all over my career, and that is there's no such thing as a neutral form of helping other people, being neutral in terms of your success as a mentor. It's either for better or it's for worse, right? So if you help some people or you're a mentor to people, make sure that you have the right training to be in that mentor role. Otherwise, you cause damage to the person, right? Or the positive growth will not come. So mentorship for better is what we try to promote through the course. We try to develop the skills to move towards a place where mentorship will be for better, not for worse. And that means that we shouldn't end up in a kind of a vicious circle that you see in mentorship for worse. It should be a virtuous cycle. It should be a strength cycle. That's what we want to promote. So there are three things that we need to focus on. The one is yourself. As an individual, you can make a difference. You can develop your self-efficacy, your motivation, you can learn new things, and so on. The other one is your employer. Your employer needs to have the right value system. Sometimes we have good people working in horrible organizations, and mentors should know how to work with people so that we change organizations for the better. And then, obviously, the third one there is the quality of professional mentoring. So those three things. As an individual, you will always have a responsibility. But we also believe that you have very good individuals who might drown because of a negative situation and a negative context in which they work. And nowadays in psychology, the focus is also not on just changing the individual. It's about how do we change the context for better. And then there's the mentorship. So a mentor needs to be a wise person. This person must really have the ability to guide you, to listen well, and not to just give advice to you, but rather follow your energy. That's important. So what are the courses about the mentoring course? This is how it looks. You will see it's in Rice Articulate. It's beautiful. It was designed by Dr. Lance Bond, who's also at the Northwest University, and he's in IT, and he has a graphic design background. So you will work with the most beautiful material, and it's a self-directed learning kind of thing, where we have lectures once a week via Zoom or Teams. And then for the mentors, we have personal. That's where people start trusting you and they sort of confide in you and you learn their story. You cannot be a good mentor if you have too many of your own problems that you are struggling with. You have to solve your own problems a little bit, and we are there to help you a bit. We don't want to be your clinical psychologist or whatever, but we will help you to go through the process, at least to start learning in a good way to people who are your mentees. So there's an introduction to this course, and then there are the 4 study units. The first one, we give you an orientation to mentoring in the South African higher education context. There's no such thing as mentoring that's a generalized kind of mentoring that we want to apply here at the Northwest University. We want to be contextual. We want to see what are the dramas, the problems, the strengths that we work with when we are at the Northwest University. So we spent time, we visited all campuses, we made videos, and these videos you will be able to watch, and we ask you questions about it. In the process, you will learn. I will share some of the details now. The second one is understanding the mentor role. The third study unit is about capability development and well-being, because that's critical. And then how do we then optimize mentee development? Our process, self-directed learning, as I said, 40 hours. There's 4 Zoom sessions and a personal contact session. So sometimes it might be difficult for you. We encourage you to be at every session, but should it be very difficult for you to attend, we also have the video, and we make it available afterwards for you to watch it and to learn from that. Then we also we use software like RISE, for instance, RISE Articulate, and then the learning is through 3 types of engagement with other learners in the context, and then with the learning material, and then also with the facilitator. So we have a very good relationship with our library. They are supporting us so well in terms of the reading material and stuff that we want to share with you. And obviously there's lots of videos and communication. We also developed the Glide app. So it's possible for you to watch whatever you are learning when you are fetching your child from the school and you sit in the sun outside with the aircon on, and you watch on your cell phone, your iPad, on your Glide app, you can access the material. And as I said, it's wonderful and easy to work with. Now, what we have also done is we have developed a system where all our trained mentors are listed on the Glide app. So it's possible for you to go and identify possible mentors that you can approach for mentoring. And those people's expectations and what their approaches are and so on, everything is there. Even your confidentiality agreements and all those kind of forms is on the system, and it's validated by the Northwest IT system. So everything in one space on the Glide app. So quickly, just about the 4 study units. The first one, you heard Prof. Linda mention the future of work. That report, you will find a link in your course, because obviously we want to give you the real material telling you the true story that's happening. So the evolving work landscape, how are jobs changing? What are our working assumptions? And have these changed over time and so on? The vital role of support staff in higher education, knowledge and skills that support staff need to have, your choices that you make, how do you navigate institutional systems and structures, promoting a culture of service excellence and continuous learning, dealing with toxic cultures. Those are the cultures that's bad for your well-being, for your integrity, or for your growth. How do we deal with that? And then judgment. The second study unit, as I said, it's about mentorship definition, the competences that you have, roles and responsibilities, ethical considerations, boundaries, power, privilege, even things like transformation, social justice, mentoring across cultures, because we are oftentimes working in very diverse circumstances. Then the third study unit is capability development. It will be a new story for most of you because it's fresh from the oven in our current research on well-being and performance that's taking place not only in South Africa, but also in the rest of the world. So you will learn what we have found out about capabilities, which is valuable for yourself. What factors influence those capabilities? What is burnout? What is flourishing? What is languishing? How do you acknowledge or become aware if you have burnout symptoms, for instance? Crucial to have that. And then things like interventions that you can use, the growth mindset that's so necessary, and then something about mattering well-being and fairness. You know, one author wrote that there's no well-being, you cannot be well without fairness. right? If you feel that you are treated unfair in an environment where you work, you cannot be well. So we know those kind of things, and we want to share the lessons with you. We will end this mentorship course with a model of intentional change. How do you put it together? And how can you mentor and coach with compassion? How do you apply to a positive lens at work? I mean, we can oftentimes be negative, but can we sometimes change that lens to make it more positive? How do you do that? How do we awake the desire to change? The power of purpose, for instance, having a purpose and a vision in your life. You will see that we will end up with every one of you being able to formulate your vision in 5 words. That's where we want to go. How do we cultivate resonant relationships? And then how do we engage in conversations so that it's mentorship for better and not for worse? A few important resources. There's the Optentia Glide page, which you will learn to know about. All the courses are there that we are currently presenting. Also our website, www.optentia.co.za, the NWU library, and the presenter for this course, and I also include my colleague Neil, because he's responsible for the Menti course. Then Kelly, who is our course coordinator, and then our administrative support team, because you will sometimes, if you are waiting for your certificate or something like that, you need to know who are the people working with that, and that's our admin and support team. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for listening to my story this afternoon, and we look forward to engage with many of you and try to get to a point where we all are making a difference, not only in our institution, but also in our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Rothman. That was incredible. My first thought is, when does he sleep? Because it seems if he thought of everything, not just in terms of content, but also in mode of delivery. And I'm looking at the content, I'm thinking to myself, I've been trying to figure this out for years. My self-directed learning has not really progressed as how long would it more or less take? How long is this short course in terms of, if you start up to the point of completion?
It's worked out on the minute for 40 hours.
40 hours.
So there's recommended material that people can watch or read or whatever. Sometimes there's no time to go for the luxuries. Sometimes you need the bare minimum. And we said we cannot keep people away from work for more than 40 hours. So 40 hours is exactly the time that you will spend your readings, your videos that you watch, your assessments that you have to do. And by the way, we're not trying to catch you out or treat you as children, but we have to do assessments. In this case, a very applicable one, that all the assessments will end up with a type of a document that you will have that will sort of help you for orientation to your own mentor or mentee discussions that you will have.
It's incredible. I can see in the audience as he speaks, from time to time, I can hear, preach it, brother. I can hear the confirmation. It's wonderful, Professor Rothman. Thank you so much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we need to move on to Dr. Neil, who's been patiently waiting, and the standard has been set. Dr. Neil Barnard, thank you so much for being with us, Senior Lecturer, School of Industrial Psychology and Human Resource Management. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much for the introduction. And also thank you, Prof. Ian, for all the support and guidance and mentorship throughout these years. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the course, the short course for the mentees for support staff. And the course is Building Your Path to Professional Development. So maybe let's start with a little story. It's not necessarily a true story, but just one. So there's an old story about a lighthouse that stood on a rocky coastline. Every night, the keeper would polish the glass, check the oil, and make sure the light shone bright enough to keep ships safely to shore. One stormy night, the light was damaged. The keeper worked tirelessly to repair it, but for several hours, the light stayed dim. Out at sea, some ships lost their bearings, drifting dangerously close to the rocks. Others managed to stay on course, relying on their instruments and on each other. until finally the light came back and guided them safely home. So each of us, in some way, is both a ship and a lighthouse. We're navigating our own uncertain paths while also shining a light that can guide others. So it's often said that successful mentoring begins with a well-prepared mentor, and that is true. Many mentoring relationships fail because the mentor lacks the training or skills, or as Geppe said earlier, the wisdom to guide effectively. But there's another side to that coin, one we often overlook. Many mentoring relationships also fail because the mentee wasn't ready, because they entered the process with false expectations, little preparation, or a limited understanding of what it truly means to be a mentee. That's why, alongside our short course for mentors, we developed a short course for mentees to prepare them for meaningful, empowering, and sustainable mentoring relationships. So we're living in a world of work that is uncertain, demanding, and complex. Technology is advancing faster than we can comprehend, and artificial intelligence is reshaping work in ways we're still trying to understand. So how do we thrive sustainably in this kind of world? Mentors might not be able to change our environments entirely, but they can play a powerful role in helping us navigate them. They can help us see opportunities where others see obstacles and possibilities where others see limits. But let's just pause for a moment there. This experience of a demanding world of work is not entirely new. So think of songs like Fast Car by Tracy Chapman and Allentown by Billy Joel. Both tell stories of people facing uncertainty, economic struggle, and the fear of not making it. And these songs were written in the 1980s. We've been here before, just in different forms. The challenge is not only external, it's also internal. So too often we fall in a victimhood mindset, believing that the world is uniquely against us, that success is reserved for others. But what if we shifted our focus from what's holding us back to what's within us? What if we cultivated an empowerment mindset, one that seeks light, harnesses our gifts, lives with gratitude, and helps empower others? So that's where true professional growth begins, not in our circumstances, but in the mindset we choose. However, now let's be really honest and clear here. Having a growth mindset isn't the only thing that helps you become who you want to be at work. Mindset is powerful, yes, but context, as Prof. Ian said, matters just as much. You can be one of the most resilient people in the world, but if you're in an environment that drains you, limits you, or constantly undermines your value, it becomes much harder to thrive. Because here's the truth, and I'm just being over-dramatic here, so please just excuse me for that. You can't positive think your way out of a toxic work culture. You cannot yoga your way out of poor leadership, and no amount of deep breathing will fix a system that doesn't allow people to grow. So while your mindset shapes how you respond to challenges, your environment shapes the possibilities available to you. We need both inner resilience and external support to thrive sustainably. That's why in this course we encourage you to reflect not only on who you are, but also on where you are and how that environment affects your ability to do meaningful work. So of course, while each of us plays a central role in shaping our own development, we cannot do it alone. Even the most motivated person thrives best in an environment that supports them. We need spaces that allow us to learn, reflect, and grow. We need colleagues, leaders, and systems that enable, not restrict, our potential. That means we must actively seek out opportunities, resources, and people who can help us become who we want to be at work. Mentoring is one such opportunity. It's a relationship that offers support, perspective, and guidance. It helps us make sense of our experiences, find direction, and take intentional steps toward growth. So as much as this course is about developing you, it's also about helping you recognize when and how to seek support that empowers you to flourish. So at the heart of this course lies a simple but profound question. Who do you want to be, not only in the world, but for the world? Purpose gives meaning to what we do. it turns routine tasks into acts of significance. So let me share another story. This one is in fact true. A hospital janitor working in a long-term care unit. His job was to clean floors and tidy rooms. But he went further. He rearranged furniture, swapped artwork between rooms, and took time to talk to the patients. When asked why, he said, "I'm playing my part in the healthcare offering of this hospital. I'm helping people get better. I'm contributing to their care." He understood something very powerful. Purpose matters much more than the job description. So that's the essence of this course, helping you find your purpose, your why, and your unique way of making a difference. So building your path to professional development gives you the space to explore who you are, how you work, and how you can grow through mentoring. The course is fully online, self-directed, and designed to fit your schedule. It includes 4 study units, 4 online contact sessions, and both formative and summative assessments. Very, very similar to what Prof. Ian said and communicated about the mentoring one. In total, it's a 40-hour journey of reflection, discovery, and growth. And let me take you briefly through the 4 study units. So study unit 1, mentoring towards a growth mindset. Learn what well-being at work really means, explore the power of a growth mindset, and discover how to align your work with that truly matters. Study unit 2 is navigating the university as an organization. So understand the evolving higher education landscape, the assumptions we hold about work, and how mentorship can help build future-ready professionals. The 3rd study unit is on career development and capability expansion. So explore how your personal strengths interact with your context and how to develop your workplace capabilities to flourish, not just survive. And then the last study unit is building an effective mentoring relationship. So discover how to set intentions for growth, awaken your desire to change, and engage in mentoring relationships that truly make a difference. Each of us is navigating our own sea. Sometimes calm, sometimes stormy. Mentoring doesn't calm the sea, but it does help us navigate them. It reminds us that while we are ships finding our own direction, we can also be lighthouses, shining light for others who are still finding their way. When we grow, reflect, and seek support, our light burns brighter, and when our light burns brighter, the whole coastline becomes safer. That's what building your path to professional development is about. Not just preparing for mentoring, but learning to be both the navigator and the light. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Also 40 hours, but I think, we can talk about what comes extra after the 40 hours and the additional resources. The same applies here, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So I think one of the big things that we're also trying to do is to not say we're not only in this journey or together for this course, but there are resources and situations afterwards where we can share knowledge, where we can interact with others, share your journeys, what are you struggling with, what's going well, what's going not so well. But yes, so it's definitely not only these 40 hours, but it goes beyond that.
But I think a very real challenge when it comes to support staff is that even though you want to be focused on your own development, you want to move forward, you want to be a good mentee and perhaps even then become a mentor later on or whatever, the environment challenging one. As we've jokingly referred to it now. It can be that the line manager makes it difficult for you, or that you work in an environment where you feel that the leadership is not necessarily visionary, it's not inspiring, and you're struggling in that environment. So how do you deal with individuals that come to you, they want to enroll for this course, but they also have the reality of the reality that they face?
Yeah, that's such a good question. And maybe not one to answer in a minute or so, but that's definitely the thing that we are faced with, is we're saying that it's not only the individual and their perseverance or their resilience or their grit that you need to focus on. You also need to build that environment. Unfortunately, I don't think as a mentor you can necessarily change maybe that supervisor, or you don't necessarily have control over that supervisor. So I think from that perspective, it's really just to understand, okay, but what is the situation that this person is in, and then remind them, but why are you doing what you are doing? How can you still live out your purpose, still almost talk about your own MyPTY Limited, and how do you storm and navigate? How do you navigate those storms? And then maybe systemic changes sometimes needs to happen to go into the broader context. But I think for the individual and for the mentor, it's just to say, but remember, you still want to be who you want to be, and what light do you want to shine in those stormy seas?
You give such wonderful insight because we know the storms are everywhere, right? So quite often we think of our own misery in the context that we have. We try and move just to find another storm. So we need to be empowered for all the other storms that we might encounter as we move along in life.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with that.
All right. Well, okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the wonderful point. Thank you, Dr. Neil. Don't go anywhere. We'd love to have you stay here because I can see the burning questions in the eyes of the people here. Ladies and gentlemen, you're also welcome to pose a few questions online. We are checking for your comments, and I'll relay it through to the different speakers that we've had here this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, any questions from your side, even when it comes to the practicalities of how do you now raise your hand? Do you have to wait for a performance appraisal interview included in your personal development plan? How would it play out? Any questions from your side? Don't be shy, otherwise I'm going to ask the questions myself. You've seen me do it. Any questions? I'll gladly come to you. All right, so let's start now. I don't know, Helen, if this is something that we can throw to the people and culture side, but how would it practically play out? Do we have to source funding? Do we have to source it ourselves? Is it something that comes through the PDP of the individual? Do we have to wait for the end of April when you submit that workplace skills plan again? How does it practically play out if you want to now enroll for these courses? All right, Helen, the ball is in your court.
I'm going to shift this one to the process owners. Ronewa, please answer this because the people will directly engage with Ronewa or Tsepi.
Thank you for that, Auxilian and you, Chair. Yes, we do offer this intervention along with Optentia. It's freely available to all permanent employed staff. Only exclude temporarily employed employees only. So the rest of us can be able to enroll for this program and it's for free. However, like our Auxilian has already mentioned that this a sponsorship that we'll receive from ATP-SETA, so would expect you to complete certain application form that are required by the ATP-SETA so that it can be able to claim funds for you.
Thank you so much. Did you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? For free, just go through the process. It's there. Complete the form.
Yeah, just to also add to what Ronewa have said, we only have limited numbers, so we can only train so many people. And also it goes with the capacity that Optentia can be able to take in because as you understand, this is a very personalized journey, so they can't take up more. So what we planned for 2025 was 30 staff members, support staff members, but we are willing to take up to 50. We'll be able to pay the difference from our own reserves. So far we can only take up to 50. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. Since we have 150 people in the room, so we have 3 cycles here already, depending on which course. Prof. Ian, Dr. Neil, there's no time limit to this. I mean, in terms of the content, it doesn't necessarily age. It's something that we'll always struggle with, isn't it?
Can you just repeat the last part?
The issue of mentorship and menteeship.
Yeah.
It will always be with us, and the content, the themes that you address, has longevity in it.
Exactly, and I want to say this, that starting with the academic mentors that we trained, we keep following up on those mentors, so they are on our system, and we also meet with them. So what we do is we go to the campuses, and we have sessions with the trained mentors and the trained mentees, and we listen to the stories and we hear the difficulties and we discuss it. So this is, and you asked Neil the question about, what are you going to do? Because sometimes a difficult line manager might prevent you doing something or whatever. It's not easy solutions. But what we are busy with here is changing a culture as well. And that is training people. And you can think if you have trained 150 academics already, what kind of difference that will make. If you train 50 support staff now and maybe carry on with that next year, it's influencing how we do things in the organization. And through that, we can become more mindful and we can try changing those systems that are causing damage to people.
Thank you, Professor. Dr. Neil, I'm curious about admission requirements. So we know the organizational processes involved in applying and raising your hand and so on. But the course itself, does it have any admission requirements?
So I'll only speak about the one for mentees. So now I think just the basics that you need to have is need to understand English, and I think almost everything that you needed to be employed, you'll be fine. So I don't think there's any extra work or courses or things that you need to prove you've achieved. And obviously we want to include as many people as possible. So the idea was also to make it open to as much people as possible. And we also, I think it was also mentioned earlier by some of the speakers, is that it's not only for, let's say, entering or emerging support staff professionals. It's really for everyone. So even if you find yourself at higher levels and you want to be a mentee, it's obviously not a downgrade, as you might think. It's really just showing that you want to develop, you want to grow, and how can you be an effective mentee. So it's not even that it's only restricted to certain levels. Yeah.
I think it's like Prof. Lebu said, it's sometimes you're the mentor, sometimes the mentee, and it's good to have the course on both those sides of the coin. Let me just check the room. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, and I have two questions. The first one for Dr. Neil is to just double check if there will be, during the mentee session where you are trained or empowered on how to choose a mentor, because I think that's the other challenge where you are not sure how to pick a mentor. And then secondly, I don't know where this one will go, is to just double check if there's an option or you are open to tailor making for different departments. I'll say why I'm asking this, because in our culture department, we've been talking about mentorship because we are mainly support staff. And if we could get like a tailor-made training or mentorship session just specifically for our department, if that is something that we can explore, especially because you have mentioned that you're taking 30 up to 50 people at a time. And I think we are around 15, so that's already taking up a whole lot from those sessions. So I wanted to check if that is an option as well. Thank you.
All right, let's start with Dr. Neil.
Okay, yeah, I'll take the first one if Prof. Jan would maybe take the second one. So yes, absolutely, we go through that. So it is in the content that you'll go through is how do you select a mentor, what are some of the basics, but then also in our contact session, we'll talk about that. Maybe dive a little bit deeper, what are the things that you are looking for, what do you need in a mentor, and things like that. And we're also not limiting it necessarily to people that's in your direct environment. You can even go outside if that is something that fits your need and your purpose. But absolutely, yes. Good question, thanks.
Thank you, Neil. Ian?
The issue of contextualization is also important for us. I think we already contextualize it as far as we could for the university environment. So remember that we are working with mentors and mentees coming from specific context. So in that process, I think it's just possible to contextualize through the way you train your mentors and mentees then.
Happiness? Answered? Thank you so much. Any other questions? Yes.
Thank you very much. My question is, I would like to know, does that imply that these training courses imply that if I want to be mentored, then I must do the mentoring course? And the other way around, the mentors that go through the course, are they only going to mentor people that have done the mentees course? Thank you.
Good question. Dr. Neil or Prof. Ian?
I will add.
Oh,
Okay.
all right. Let's start.
So the people who want to be mentors will do the mentor course. And those who want to be mentees, they will do the mentee course. And then, so your first part of the question was, what was the first part? Maybe you can just say that again.
I think to summarize, in order to be either on the receiving or the giving part, must everybody do the training first before
That's
they
what we really would like to do. Otherwise, we are afraid that mentorship for the worse might take place and not mentorship for better. So that's why we implemented the training in the beginning, and Prof. Myrna will know, because it started in the Faculty of Humanities quite a number of years ago. But we said that is what our approach.
Yeah, I think if I can just reiterate what Prof. Ian said, is exactly that, is that we wanted to make sure that we set people up in mentoring programs or mentoring relationships. Whether at the end of the day that's formal or informal, it really doesn't matter. But I think to make sure that those of you who really want to be mentors, that you at least know and understand what it means to be a mentor and how do you do mentoring for good. But then also those of us who wants to go into to be mentees in this program, what is expected of you to be a good mentee, and how do you contribute to the success of that relationship? So yeah, that's the idea, is to almost train and prepare mentors and mentees for that process. Yeah.
Thank you. We have another question.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's quite easy to understand that everybody can be a mentee, but what qualifies me to be a mentor? Thank you.
You're short and sweet and powerful. Shall we start with, since it refers to the mentor, perhaps?
What qualifies you to be a mentee or a mentor?
A mentor.
A mentor. So what we want there is that you need some experience already in the system. We often get this problem that people think it's like inferior to do the mentee course. I can tell you honestly, I'm 66 years of age and I'm too much willing to be a mentee in any kind of relationship. I think with people and culture, we also want to make sure that the people we allow into the mentor course are people who have some experience and in the system already. Otherwise, I think it might not have the successes we want to have.
Thank you. Helen?
Thank you, Gepier. I wanted to also assure the colleagues this is not a once-off 50. We have this training program every year. So this will be one of our flagship programs. So every year we are able to have two cohorts beginning of the year, the first 6 months of the year, and then also towards the end of the year. So don't think that if you are not successful this round, you will never get an opportunity to be trained. So, and as we're receiving more money, we'll be able to increase the intake. So, and then the other thing that is important for my colleague is that they shouldn't also want to apply all at once as a team of 15, because we would want to also make sure that we diversify. When we're looking at the applicants, it has to be from different divisions within the university. We won't just take up 15 unless if the other departments are not willing to to take up this opportunity. So we will be having this on an annual basis. And then also you can contact our department, Learning and Development, Ronewa Ngeniswa Eotsepi, because we also have other training initiatives where we can do some group coaching and so forth. So there are other opportunities apart from this mentor and mentee program. Thank you, Chair.
So just to make doubly sure, if you want to enroll for one of these courses, the starting point is?
Learning and development. Our practitioners are also available to channel you to the right direction. If you're not certain, you can contact your HR practitioner in your environment, and then they'll advise you further. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Right now, any other questions? Yes, I was looking to this side of the room, thought you were a bit quiet.
Thank you so much. So I just wanted to know, what are the ultimate outcomes, especially for the mentee program? Are we just going to receive a certificate, or will the mentees also be set up or coupled with a mentor at the end of the day? And also, will there be follow-up sessions with them in order to make sure that they are mentoring as they should?
Yes, yeah. So thank you for that question. So for the mentees, you'll go through the course and then you'll also get a certificate at the end. So we have almost these award ceremonies where we invite everyone, and then you come there and you receive your certificate, and we try to make a big event of it. And then we'll also maybe share there who are some of those who really went the extra mile in the course and really just trying to celebrate them as well. What happens after that? So this is almost, let's call it phase one of this program. But you will, after that, as Prof. Ian said, on the Glide app, you will also come on that database where you can have a look at who are some of the potential mentors, or at least those who went through the course, and who then put their name up to say, I want to now start mentoring. And then you can maybe scroll through that and maybe reach out to those that you might want to have as a mentor. But just maybe on that note, for the mentors also, you can decide if your profile is now active or not. Sometimes we just find ourselves in difficult situations, and maybe for this month or two or whatever, we don't want anyone new. Then you also have that option to say, I'm not available at the moment. So you also have that. But that will only be available for those who went through the course, the mentors and the mentees. You had a third question, I just can't remember now what the other one was. Oh, that was the one with the follow-ups. So that's also what we try to do, is to go around and say, okay, well, you've now completed this course. You've now have you now already found a mentor? Have you not? Are you in a process, in a program? And let's just share some experiences, what's working, what's not working, and things like that. So yes, we also try to do that. Thanks.
Thank you. Sounds like a well-structured process. From those of you inquiring online, I think we've covered your questions now. Thank you, Karine and Mendu, for your questions. Let's take another question here from the room.
Thank you so much. Prof, I just want to ask, I've checked on the schedule. You only put on the summative assessment. I'm very interested in that. Assessment for me is something else, so that I can measure how I have performed. So is it only summative, or do we also have formative to really check yourself how you're growing into this? Thank you.
Yes, good question. So yes, so we have assessments after each study unit. That goes into much more depth in that study unit, where you get feedback from that as well. And then so essentially you have 4 of those assignments. And then you have the last assignment, which is in the summative assignment. We would then ask you, we want you to integrate almost everything that you've learned across the 4 study units into very condensed responses. And that's essentially the ideal scale. How do you now approach this actual mentoring program? So thinking about all the things that you've learned in the study unit, we just want you to share almost an integrated answer into how you will approach it, with some certain sub-questions in that. So yes.
Just a follow-up. Are you Are we also going to have the plagiarism into it? I'm very interested into AI because we really would like to see how people think. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, so that is a good question. I think at least my approach, and Prof. Ian can maybe share his, but my approach to that, obviously plagiarism is out, and that's, I don't think we need to discuss it, but the idea of AI, we almost have this approach that if you really want to learn and develop yourself and go through this course, why would you want to then just use AI to write everything for you? I think you almost then, what is the reason for you then going through it? And a lot of the questions, at least in the mentee one, is where you reflect on who you are, what are your goals, what is your context, your situation, what do you need from a mentor, what do you need from a mentoring relationship, where are you going? And if you're going to ask AI to do that for you, yeah. I'm not going to check, there's in any case no tools that can check that accurately. But we will be able to pick up the listening. This is not something that you reflected on. It's just an AI thing. And then obviously we'll not let you get the certificate if it's that obvious. But yeah, I think the bigger question is why would you want to use it? If you want to use AI to maybe help you a little bit in refining your paragraph, because you've now just written down everything that's in your head and you just want, I can't see that that's a problem. But I think when it comes to content generation, I don't. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you so much, because I'm just foreseeing you receiving one document 50 times if you don't really look at the, I would say, originality of the thinking of a person. Thank you.
Prof. Ian?
I can mention that it happened in the past that people didn't get the certificates because you could really pick up that the use of AI, but that was not a big problem. You know, people use AI because they don't have time to formulate a proper response. And then you get very poor sort of responses in any case, and anyone can see that this is more anything else, and that's back to the point that Neil made. But unfortunately, those people didn't get certificates, yeah.
All right, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I think when Prof. Ian, Dr. Neil spoke about the content, your interest was piqued. Some of those little sentences, little parts of a unit, within a module, it really gets you curious. So perhaps this is even the start of greater things, not just of these short courses, but of you becoming part of some other learning program under the banner of Optentia. It's a good thing. It's a good start towards your future. Let us close, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to ask the Deputy Dean for Research and Innovation at the Faculty of Humanities, Professor Myrna Nel, to close for us. Professor, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anytime. Colleagues, yes, so this is really a proud moment for us. You know, a few years ago, I went to Prof. Ian and said, listen, we really need a mentorship program in the faculty for academics following a research career. And now we are here. 2 short courses has been developed, implemented for academics, and now we are here also to the backbone of the university, our support staff developing the mentorship course. So, you know, something which I thought was only going to be a mentorship program for colleagues in the Faculty of Humanities is now a university-wide program. Helen, and I want to really thank you from your side investing into this. We really appreciate it. I think this is breaking down silos, and thank you very much for that. Yes, so colleagues, you know, we talk about wisdom and well, yeah, let me start with this. When I went to Prof. Ian and we started brainstorming about this, it was really important from my experience about mentoring was also, you had those nice pictures up of, you know, this guy person finger pointing and saying, this is how you need to develop your career. If you want to achieve or become whatever in academics, this is what you need to do and what you should not do. That finger pointing. And you know, and Ian and I said, this is not what we want to do with the mentorship. It is good mentorship. It is a foundation for personal and professional growth. And it should be built on trust, respect, and genuine investment in another person's development. And you know, that really takes it all together for me. But you know, all of you who talked about wisdom. Wisdom is such a key element of mentoring. And I want to share it because we always think that wisdom, it's only old people that has wisdom. Ellen, and you said it so nicely, that we can learn from each other. It doesn't matter how old are you, in which position you are, what qualifications you are, where you come from. We need to share that. If I think about the whole Ubuntu wisdom, Ubuntu principle that says, you know, that we are who we are through other people, with other people. And I want to use this quote. I'm a very big fan of Shakespeare, that says, wisdom is about the fool, so this is now proper high English. The fool doth think he is wise, but the wise man knows himself to be a fool. So this is really important, that as a mentor, we do not think we know everything. You know, and what if I mentor someone, then that person needs to do what I tell him to do. It's interaction. It's about sharing wisdom. Yeah, so technology. So, yeah, GP, I must just, you mentioned about, you know, the pre-age thing. I'm very careful to give my age away, but I'm going to do that anyway. I grew up before there was computers and cell phones and televisions and all those kinds of things, but at least I can use technology also. But there's a very famous African quote also about wisdom. All of you know what a baobab tree is. That's a very big tree with a big, big trunk. So wisdom is like a baobab tree. No one individual can embrace it. We need to do it together. And one important thing for me about wisdom is about surpassing. I had good mentors and I had bad mentors. And the bad mentors said to me, you know, sometimes, and Ellen, I think it was also you that mentioned about a legacy, that I want my mentees to surpass me. They need to grow and actually become better than me. But I had bad mentors who said that to me. And when that actually happened, you know, they made life very difficult for me. And that is what this course is really addressing. And Lisa, you also mentioned the human element. And I think this is another very fundamental of this mentorship program, that it looks at the human and not just about career building. We are not just people at work. We are people at home and in different environments and contexts. So in the end, I really want to thank Prof. Ian and Neil, and also the colleagues who's involved in doing all the training from the people and culture side, Anjunet and Kelly Ramagaga, who is not here, she's overseas. The absolute knowledge that you put into this. And we are an academic institution, so this is not just book knowledge. This is really research. You really did a good, I just remember how many conversations you drew us in and said, okay, let's talk about this, let's reflect about this, will this work, what will work? So you really invested in making these short courses absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much for that, Prof. Ian, Neil, the team. I'm really proud. It has started in the Faculty of Humanities, but that it has been, that it's now been presented to other faculties and especially our support staff, who's absolutely at the backbone of our university colleagues. And I know you hear it sometimes. I hope people say to you, your line managers, your colleagues say to you that thank you for what you are doing. But yeah, we really do appreciate it. We cannot do this. This university will not exist without our support staff. So thank you so much for being here. It's so fantastic that so many of you are here and online also. So please make use of this opportunity. Do this for yourself. The opportunity is there. Thank you so much, Geepje. Thank you for your fantastic facilitation again, for giving us a few laughs, which is also necessary. Yeah, I think that must be part of our mentorship course. Actually, yeah, happiness, addressing happiness and having a few laughing sessions. So, yeah, sometimes we must include that also. Thank you very much, colleagues. Thank you, Geerpier.
Thank you, Professor Mernanel. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed our presentation this afternoon. You've now heard that we've mentioned the numbers, and from what I understand, we have a significant number of people following online as well. I think it shows that there is a keen interest for these short courses and that the timing is just right. We are ready for it, and I hope you are ready for it as well. Thank you so much for your time, and have a wonderful evening.